Thank you and welcome to the show for today. You are watching Perspectives and I am host Alana McLaughlin. This morning on Perspectives I have entrepreneur Carlos Partee to discuss entrepreneurship in Nashville. Carlos is known through various brands, the Nashville Black Market, Cashville, etc., and other minority businesses that he's been involved in here in town, and I'm honored to have him discuss his background, education, faith, and ultimately entrepreneurship in Nashville. So Carlos, thank you for joining me this morning. And to just hop right into this first segment, we're going to talk about baby Carlos years. So just give me your background education, what early childhood looked like.
Most definitely. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm super excited to be here. Baby Carlos. That's funny. I'm born and raised here in North Nashville. Been here all my life. I've lived pretty much on every side of town, just about. So that kind of, built up a relationship with a lot of people here, just, amongst my peers. As a kid, I was this little, chubby little kid. Always, looking for something to do, looking for something creative to do. I was very interested in art. So as a kid, I, would draw a lot. I played basketball, so that was one of my passions. But I was always interested in music. So.
And where'd you go to school?
I went to East Literature, but I also went to Hull Jackson for elementary, and Margaret Allen. Then I went to East and kind of bounced around different schools, which kind of built some relationships. But East was my home base. I went there from pretty much middle school to high school.
Now, do you think East is the real out East or Stratford the real out East?
Oh man, I don't want to have a fight, so I'm gonna say out East is out East, and we're gonna leave it at that.
And I love asking people that, especially graduates of those two schools. They get so excited about it. But Carlos, tell me about some of the experiences you had at East Nashville, just as an adolescent black male, just going through high school. Tell me kind of what life looked like, some of the things you had to learn, experience, just those teenage years for Carlos.
Yeah, most definitely. It was a lot of lessons and learning a lot of different things. Playing basketball, being an entrepreneur in high school, middle school, kind of going through learning curves, making friends, finding people that, I'm still friends with today. So whether they're mentors or peers, living in North Nashville and commuting to East Nashville, then living in East Nashville and going to school there, and then living outside of East Nashville and going to school there was you learned a lot of different lessons. You learned a lot of lifelong lessons, and you made a lot of lifelong friends as well. So I enjoyed it.
And then, Carlos, I want to talk about kind of early North Nashville. On the show, I'm often talking about the effects that gentrification has had on North Nashville, and a lot of viewers that I have are new to Nashville, or at least just not familiar with North Nashville. So I want to talk about what North Nashville looked like when we were coming up. I know you're a little older, but I want to talk about what that looked like in childhood, and we're going to come back to that in that second segment to kind of talk about the inspiration behind Cashville and how you're bringing that culture back. But tell me, as a child, what North Nashville looked like. Tell me some of the businesses, some of the people that were around that you experienced.
It's nothing like North Nashville. I feel like North Nashville is the heart of the city here, and just because we have 3 HBCUs that are thriving in North Nashville: Fisk, Meharry, TSU. But you also have this rich culture. You have so much history, whether it's sit-ins, businesses, lawyers, doctors. It's a string of different things. And growing up in North Nashville, I always wanted a brick and mortar in North Nashville. I wanted to own my own business, not really knowing it, but knowing how cool it was to go to different shops or different establishments and see people of my people who look like me thriving and doing well. It was a time when gentrification and a lot of different things kind of stricken the neighborhood and just kind of, detoured it and, kind of made it to where it was where people said that they didn't want to come to, but all in all, it's the heart of the city. There's so many people in North Nashville that are doing things that are outside of Nashville that, made what Nashville is today.
You're right. And I think talking about what Nashville is today, a lot of people don't know that our name, Music City, is not for country music. That was coined for the Fisk Jubilee Singers. And I love telling people that because they love to say like, oh, Nashville's Music City because of country. I'm like, the country's great, but that is not why we're called music. That's not where that came from. That came from North Nashville.
Exactly.
And that's one of the beautiful things that I think about when I think about North Nashville. I think about Ed's Fish. I think about Knockout Wings, how how I miss it. TSU Gentry Center, homecoming week.
Oh my God, you naming them.
Exactly, and you feel that warmth in your soul. And Carlos, in our second segment, we're going to pick back up on just what the face of North Nashville looked like as we were coming up. We're going to talk about the inspiration behind the Cashville brand leading into the Nashville black market, and ultimately how you established yourself as a serial entrepreneur in Nashville. And I encourage viewers to tune into the second segment of Perspectives, where Carlos and I will be discussing entrepreneurship in Nashville. Welcome to the second segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, I am host Alana McLaughlin, and you are watching Perspectives. This morning on the show, I have Carlos Partee to discuss entrepreneurship in Nashville. Carlos is discussing his background, education, the multiple businesses that he has been a part of, and ultimately the impact that he seeks to have on Nashville. Carlos, thank you again. And we left off on a really good topic. We were talking about old North Nashville. And now people are going to look at this and be like, what is old North Nashville still there? It's not.
It's not. No.
It is a different North Nashville.
Definitely different, yeah.
And now we still have, like you said, our HBCUs. We still have Ed's Fish, like what, Robin Hood Tires, all the good stuff. But we're missing things like Knockout Wings. We're missing the same homes, the Candy Lady that used to be on 28th or 26th. We're losing those gems. And that kind of segues into, I want to talk about the inspiration behind the Cashville brand. For those who aren't familiar with Cashville, et cetera, it's really a multimedia brand. You have everything from clothing to social media posts to outreach, and all of it's based on feel-good Nashville. It makes you nostalgic, especially for those minority communities. And I love that you are the voice for kind of our minority back in the day Nashville, because seriously, some of the photos that you find from old buildings, I'm like, where did he even get these things? And so kind of tell me about the inspiration behind it. And I want you to take off your jacket as well.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because you have on this Cashville jacket and it's awesome. But tell me about that inspiration.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. So growing up as a kid, you know, like I said, we seen these things. A lot of people don't know about the history that's going here in Nashville that happened. So I felt like it was my job to tell these stories, to continue to hold that torch and keep it going and pass the baton. Because if you don't know where you came from, how will you know where you're going?
You're right.
So looking at all those historic landmarks of those historic people, I want to be able to tell their stories. I feel like a lot of people like us don't get to tell our stories. We don't get to
minority people, black people, and especially not in Tennessee. And we don't have to scare around anything.
Yeah, most definitely. So,
I mean, we are in the state that Dr. King was assassinated in under 60 years ago.
Yes.
60 years is no time. We got parents and grandparents who were still alive. So you say that proudly. We don't. And that's a part of why I am so intense about Perspectives and about what I do, because I want to give our minority people those voices. It's not all the time that you see black people sitting on television talking about North Nashville.
No, it's not. It's not. So that's why we have to give our flowers to them while they're here. Like our goal with Cashville, et cetera, is giving that nostalgic feeling, whether it's through media, curated arts, events. This recently we did a Face of North Nashville historical project, and so it was an archival project dating back from 1920 to 2018, showing the array of how North Nashville was, whether it was establishments, love, history. So just being able to kind of bottle all that up and kind of give it to people and let them know exactly what's going on here in Nashville. So if you haven't been to our brick and mortar at Cashville, et cetera, in 100 and Taylor in Germantown, we're doing it. We have a side for muralists. We have a side for the clothing. So just think about a gift shop for the culture of Nashville, Tennessee, Cashville, as we like to call it. And so, you know, that's just been our goal, is to continue to keep that torch lit, but also create new stories and also kind of bridge the gap between transplants and natives, but also elders and young folks. So that's our goal right now.
And you're right, and you're doing it. I want to talk about kind of the technicality behind actually setting up that brick and mortar, getting it established. Tell me about that process.
It's a long process. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm going as I go. You know, as a kid, I'd seen my great aunt. She owned a nightclub. And so as a kid, I got to work in there and kind of, you know, not supposed to be in there, but I got to kind of see it firsthand and not really knowing that, you know, I'm carrying on that torch. And so owning my own brick and mortar and kind of starting other brick and mortars as well, has, you know, it's a lot. It takes a lot, especially if you haven't had the perspective or if you haven't had someone to kind of give you the game and insight. So a lot of the stuff is like you finding it and figuring it out on your own as a, you know, a first-time entrepreneur or a third-generation entrepreneur. So a lot of the stuff that you see today, you know, whether it's North Nashville, or just the world in general, it's been done before, but you just recreate it and create it in your own specific way.
And revamp it.
Yep, exactly.
Now tell me, I love to pick your brain because this is awesome, and what you're doing for the community is awesome. You have your Cashville brand kind of set up. You're pushing memes and clothes, and you're really pushing the brand. And then the idea of the Nashville Black Market comes up. Now tell me about that inspiration, about the mindset before even establishing it. How did that even come to mind?
You can't, you got to tell that story. So me and my business partner, Javon Jones, I have a clothing brand. I had a clothing brand before Cashville, et cetera. But before then, I always wanted my own brick and mortar location. I wanted to be able to kind of give people a place where they could celebrate culture, a hub for culture here in Nashville, but also a place where I didn't have to keep popping my trunk and meeting you in certain places. I wanted you to be able to come and see me, and we could, exchange from there. And he kind of felt the same way about his clothing business. And so we kind of put our brains together, and we were just like, if we're going through the same problem, how many other Black-owned businesses are going through the same problem as well? And so the Nashville Black Market was birthed. 15 business owners in North Nashville in a very small location. It's probably about 1,100 square feet, I think. Around that, don't quote me on the math. But we had two food trucks, and about 1,500 people showed up. The news showed up, and from there, we were like, we got something. And so over the years, we've just been, building, going from church to community center to event space to, our residency at the Nashville Farmers Market to the Nashville Fairgrounds, packing it out with over 14,000 people. So, it's just been a goal and a vision of ours is to continue to amplify and empower these Black-owned businesses, whether it was the retail store that we no longer have, or it's the studio, the NBM studio and podcast that we have, or whether it's, going to different cities and states and amplifying those Black-owned businesses.
And Carlos, something that you just said a second ago, 14,000 people supporting Black-owned businesses in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Do you know that there was a time where that would just not have we wouldn't be in? And I'm still sitting amazed. I know I'm an old soul, but God, that is just beautiful because we don't have those spaces.
Yes.
We learn in our history books about, predominantly Black communities and neighborhoods. And if you search them today, most of them are no longer in existence. They're underwater. They've fallen off. And so for us to get together and to still be able to support each other, community. I mean, because seriously, I'm 21. We haven't had much community. I think of community in Nashville as like Luby. I think of AAU basketball teams, and a lot of that stuff has fallen off, from COVID throughout the years, everything. And so, oh my God. And so to end off this second segment, we're going to talk about the studio. I want to talk about Nashville Black Market Studio and kind of that inception. And in our final segment, we're going to talk about all the things that y'all offer, ways that the community can support you, and oh my God, the plans that you have for Nashville. You are on top, man. Tell me about the studio.
Yeah, so the studio, we've always thought, why do the most creative people don't have access to the tools that they need to stay creative and to make money? And so with us being in Music City, we're like, why don't we create a podcast and recording studio for these artists, for people who are trying to, whether they're doing the mixtapes, they're doing voiceovers, they're doing a podcast, they're saying, content, whatever the case may be. We want to be able to kind of give them a safe space, somewhere that's not on Music Row, somewhere that's not, downtown, or where you got to pay millions of dollars to wait in line.
And in our final segment, we're going to pick back up on the studio, the podcast, all the things that the Nashville Black Market offers, and ultimately just the ways that we can support you, your businesses, and just Black Nashvillians. I encourage viewers to tune in to the final segment of Perspectives, where Carlos and I will be discussing entrepreneurship in Nashville.
17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance.
Warning you to weather that will impact your life.
Our forecast pinpoint a storm's path, showing when it will hit your neighborhood. That's where we already are. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
Welcome to the final segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, my name is Alana McLaughlin, and I am the host of Perspectives. This morning, I have Carlos Partee on to discuss his background, education, faith, and ultimately entrepreneurship in Nashville. In our first two segments, we talked about his early beginnings, baby Carlos years. We talked about the inception of the Nashville Black Market as well as his brand, Cashville. We talked about establishing a brick and mortar shop here in North Nashville, and ultimately the ways that we can continue to support this awesome entrepreneur. And Carlos, just thank you again. I can't thank you enough for coming and for sharing what you shared in these first two segments. To pick back up where we just left off, we were talking about the Nashville Black Market Studio and its offerings, and you were telling me that it's a space for creatives to kind of just come together, make content, and tell me about establishing that. Where is the studio?
Yeah, so the studio is in East Nashville, 1100 Richmond Drive. So we're right in the heart of Inglewood. So yeah, right, not too far.
And anybody can just pull up and just.
So you got to make an appointment. www.nbmstudio.com. Hit us up on social medias. We can definitely book your appointment right away. We got a same-day booking fee, and we got pretty much everything that you can see on Music Row and these other studios. We got our in-house engineer that's fully, licensed and everything.
Wow.
So it's a really cool, experience. Once you come in, you're like, okay, I'm at home. I can create and do just about anything. Not so much big as this place, but it's really great.
And it's awesome.
Yes.
And now, Carlos, I kind of want to talk about what do you see in the future of both Cashville and the Nashville Black Market. I'm going to divert a little bit and talk about this jacket you've got on.
Yeah,
I know our viewers can kind of see it.
Yeah.
It says Cashville on it.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about the clothes, establishing the clothes, making the clothes.
Yeah, so I learned how to make clothes when I was younger. So I learned how to sew, I learned how to heat press, I learned how to screen, silk press, a little bit of embroidery. So
man, you good as college crib.
most definitely. So I feel like you have to learn these things. I went to YouTube University at one point, and then I got some hands-on experience. But I think, with the clothing, our goal next is to kind of go into this more so cut and sew phase. We still have those T-shirts, where you can represent your neighborhoods and represent where you're from, out east, Lishy, wherever that may
I'm
be.
so glad you mentioned that. I see the shirts everywhere. They'll say like Trinity, Buchanan, or they have the HBCUs, Fisk, TSU, Meharry, ABC. And that's another thing I love about you. You include ABC.
Everybody has to get it.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
so now
ma'am.
tell me about selling these clothes, actually getting them out in that process.
Yeah, so we either make it in-house or we outsource. So a lot of the stuff that we do, you see, we're doing it, we're touching it. So a lot of the clothing that you see people wearing, it's probably done went through my hands or I've pressed it. And so, the goal with that is our brick and mortar location or our website, cashville.com. And, just the goal is going to these markets, festivals, and selling the apparel, but also kind of being a resource here. So if you live outside of Nashville, if you're traveling to Nashville, you can use this merchandise to represent wherever you are in the world. So if you're in LA, you can wear a Cashville shirt. If you're in Miami, you can wear a Cashville shirt. And I think that was like the overall goal of it was, seeing how other people were proud of where they were from, whether it was, wearing a New York shirt or wearing an LA hat. How can we, create that vibrance here in Nashville with Cashville? So.
Oh my goodness. And now tell me about the future of the Nashville Black Market.
Oh,
and even you can throw in some of the things that Javon is thinking too. I know we're kind of speaking on his behalf today, and I need to get him in here as well.
Yes.
But yes, tell me just some of the future plans for the NBM.
Most definitely, yeah. So the future plans. So February 10th and 11th, we're at the Nashville Fairgrounds for our Black History Month Expo.
Ooh.
It's going to be amazing. A two-day festival. I'm talking about live DJs, installations, food, games, you name it. You got to be there. And so once we finish that, we start our residency at the Nashville Farmers Market, March through November. So that's every first Friday. You can come and do the bunny hop, line dance, whatever it is with us every first Friday, 6 to 10. And so our goal with that is just to keep empowering it and keep amplifying it. So creating new installations, bringing artists down to perform, kind of making this place a festival place for Nashville, especially for our culture. Be able to kind of show, how multifaceted we can be within our culture, and, getting the state of Tennessee to represent and help us with it. And so, this event is for everybody. We want everybody to come experience it. I think about, different festivals out of town, and you see all different types of ethnicities supporting, whether it's, Puerto Rican, Dominicans and Black, Plaza Marriott, people go and celebrate these festivals. So we want people to come and celebrate the Nashville Black Market just like how you would celebrate Art Basel, or just how you would celebrate these festivals in New York or LA or all over the world. So that's our goal, is to continue to amplify these businesses in different segments in different ways. So you have to just be on the lookout, follow us at the Nashville Black Market, and stay in tune with what we got going on for the year.
Now, Carlos, I have to ask, you are like a modern genius.
Thank you.
How do you maintain your self-care and just health?
Yeah.
You have your hands in like 15 different things at
Yes.
any given time.
Yes,
Where do
yes.
you find time for Carlos?
Oh man, that's a great question, because I think a lot of the times, entrepreneurs, they just have this persona of everything's fine and everything's great. But entrepreneurship is very hard. We've been more transparent over the last year of just letting people know exactly how entrepreneurship works, and how, you have some months, you have some days where it's not as good as it was the last month or the last day. The grass ain't always green on the other side. But as entrepreneurship grows and as you grow as a person, you understand and you figure out your brand, and it's like you commandeer the lane. As far as me, as myself, just kind of taking time for myself personally, and finding the things that I like to do, whether
What
it's
do you
my
like to do?
hobbies. I like to DJ. I've been DJing since high school, so that's one of my favorite things. Music or producing, just kind of creating content on my own that's not a deadline behind it. I like to explore and just kind of be and enjoy myself, be around family and friends. So been kind of trying to find my balance with that, because you always got your work hat on, whether it's 6 in the morning,
Or
10
6
at night. Yeah, you're like
right.
trying to figure it out and trying to keep going and stay afloat and trying to stay ahead. But sometimes you have to take some time, you have to breathe, you have to do some stuff for yourself, whether it's some yoga, whether it's working out. So I'm getting more into that, and I encourage more entrepreneurs, business owners, whoever you are, to continue to focus on yourself and don't let your health or anything stand in the way from being the best person that you can be.
And I'm so glad you said that, because I think that, especially in our generation, there's kind of a sense of toxic entrepreneurship going on. You're encouraged to work yourself to the bone.
Yeah.
And our bodies are not built to handle
No,
that.
they're
We
not.
are
They're
not farm animals.
No,
We are not meant to go all day and
All
night.
day,
We
yep.
need rest, we need nutrition, hydration. And I'm glad that you're speaking on that, because I have a lot of people come on here and say, well, I just keep working, I barely sleep. And I'm like, that is awesome, but
Awesome,
you're
baby.
going to burn
Yes,
out in
yes,
5 years.
yes,
And so I thank you for saying that. And to kind of end this final segment, it's a 3-part question. One, how can the community support Carlos? Like booking you for a DJ event, for a speaking event, how can we do that?
Yeah, most definitely. So you can reach out to me, Carlos Partee, social media. You can reach out to my email, or you can reach out to me personally. I'm always available. Creative consulting, DJing, public speaking, pretty much anything that you need me to do. If you see me in the light doing it, book me. I can do it for you.
Now
Yeah.
for Cashville, same thing. How can we support?
Yeah, most definitely. Come to the brick and mortar location, 100 Taylor, Cashville, etc.com. Support us, follow us on social media. Continue to support the brand. February 8th, we're throwing our first live concert at the building. So it's live from Cashville, and so that's something that you can support too. I don't know when this airs, but just
It
keep
will.
supporting. Yeah,
that'd be
keep
awesome.
supporting
And
that.
now to kind of wrap it up, the
Yeah.
Nashville Black Market, how can we support?
Nashville Black Market. Keep supporting, keep shopping, keep coming to these events, keep supporting the entrepreneurs here in Nashville in general. But you can come to the Nashville Black Market every first Friday starting in March, or you can go to our website, thenashvilleblackmarket.com, or you can go to Instagram, social media, and you can find us at the Nashville Black Market. We're always looking for partners, sponsors, organizations, donors, volunteers, you name it. So come support us. Come shop, eat, network, and dance with us.
And that's like an awesome ad. I'm like, okay, let me put it on my calendar. I'll be there Friday. Carlos, thank you for coming this morning to share your perspective, and thank you for what you're doing for minority communities in Tennessee. To our viewers, thank you for just joining me one more time, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share different perspectives one more time. Good morning.